Welcome back, rankers. There's a lot happening in the world of SEO this week. A few questions from the floor. Gold Coast Girl has said, how do we find what long tail phrases people are using to find your website, or which long tail phrases would suit? Well, I think what you're really asking there is, how do I find long tail phrases to rank for that will turn into business? Basically, a long tail phrase is, say, something like appear on the first page of Google, rather than, say, Google, or 4-bedroom house, brick veneer, Bandura, rather than real estate, which would be a short tail phrase. But a long tail phrase essentially tells you more about the searcher. They're usually further along in the decision-making process, so therefore that searcher will then more than likely convert if you're targeting those sorts of phrases. The first thing you can do is, of course, go to Google Insights, start typing your base phrase. Let's just use real estate as the example, and then we'll add a search term and we'll say real estate Melbourne. Oops. And then we might add another one. Let's just say new land release Melbourne. And as we know, Google, and I'm just going to search for Australia, and as we know, Google Insights will give us an idea of the relative popularity of those phrases. Now you can see right there that real estate is a massively popular phrase, and you can see it's quite seasonal as well. But just because it's popular doesn't make it good. If we, say, take that one out and just do a comparison of real estate Melbourne and new land release Melbourne, we still see real estate towers above. But once again, if you're looking for a house, you're not going to just type in real estate Melbourne. Maybe if you're overseas, maybe if you're interstate, you might start your search with a phrase like that, but you're going to get very, very specific very quickly, because the results that it returns are going to be basically useless to you because they're not specific enough. So that's what we mean by a long tail search. One of the other ways that you can start to find out what sort of long tail phrases, obviously, that you're ranking for, is to go to Google Analytics. And I've just sorted, this is my keyword, this is our keyword hits, and I've just sorted this by bounce rate, meaning 0 is there's no bounce rate. And you can see here, one of the first phrases is Metricon. Now these phrases haven't delivered a lot of traffic, and so I'm specifically looking at these as the long tail searches. So if we go and have a look at, say, Metricon, because we did some work for Metricon years ago, and there's a story on the site about it. So at some point we were ranking for the word Metricon, but we're not now. Because, as we know, people don't usually go past page 1, let alone past page 2. But here's one, let's try this one. Best SEO person, Melbourne. Now, I'm not typing these things in. This is just what Google's saying, and who am I to argue with Google? So that means that at some point someone's typed in best SEO person, Melbourne. And, we just happen to be number 1, which is nice. Now, once again, it's not me saying that. It's Google, and who am I to argue with Google? But that gives you an idea of how you can start to find long tail phrases. We had one client once who was ranking for the phrase mineral makeup, but they were only ranking 8 or 9. And it was delivering, though, the bulk of their traffic to that site. So what we did then was to make sure that that phrase got ranked higher so it would deliver more traffic. So have a look at Vanessa, Gold Coast Girl, have a look at your Google Analytics and see what people are already reaching the site with, and then you can start to work out where you rank for that phrase. And if you don't rank high for that phrase and it's delivering you a bit of traffic, then start to optimize for that phrase. Use Google Insights for search. The other thing that Google Insights for search, of course, will also do is it'll give you breakout phrases or rising searches, real estate course, and it'll give you some ideas of the sorts of things that people are searching for, like Melbourne and suburbs. So that's a whole other group of searches that people are doing around real estate. So you can add those two words. And the idea is that you try to capture the most popular search, but also the most relevant for what you're targeting, so that they will convert easier. I hope that's helped. The big news that we've seen this week is, in Google anyway, and we've been talking about it for a while, is this need for speed. We've had a couple of instances where we've been monitoring client site uptime and it's been inconsistent. We've moved the client site from their current hosting company to a new hosting company, and the rankings have skyrocketed. So if you think you've done everything you possibly can and you're still not ranking, it could actually be your hosting company that's causing the problem. And what you can do is just go to Google and look for software or a service which will monitor your site uptime. Now we use a couple. We've got one that we built internally, and then we've got two external ones that we use. And it's good to cross-check. And basically what you're trying to do is to find out if your site is ever off the air. And another thing you should be doing in conjunction with this is going to your Google Webmaster Tools and having a look at the site performance. And what you're trying to find out here, this graph here under performance should be flat. Now this particular site doesn't actually reflect what has actually been happening. This back here, of course, was bad. But this particular one, the site was going off air midnight every night, and no one knew until we started monitoring the site uptime. We got that right, and then the site jumped 30 or 40 places back into the top 10. So that's what you're looking for. The other thing that you can look at with site monitoring is not only your page load speed here in Google Webmaster Tools, not only your site monitoring services that you've got out there, but also have a look at your page load times. Google in Webmaster Tools, if you're using Firefox, you can install Page Speed Checker. So what you're looking at doing here is how quickly do your pages load, and is your hosting company reliable? And you would be surprised at the amount of sites that we have, or client sites that we've had over the years, where the hosting has been a major issue. So do check that out. And finally today, Senator Conroy has got himself into a bit of hot water again. If you go to the minister's front page of the minister's site, we go to the front page of the minister's site. Some Mr. Clever Trousers has found out that, and we've talked about tag clouds a lot on this show, but some Clever Trousers has worked out that this tag cloud over here is telling a few porkies, or it's not actually telling the whole truth. The idea of a tag cloud is to give you an idea of the popularity of a particular topic within a site, so that you can go directly to a listing of all the articles on that site about that keyword or tag. And what's been revealed this week is that Senator Conroy's own site is doing something a little bit, well, not necessarily dodgy. It's his site, but it's not actually telling the whole truth. What we've got here is this tag cloud being artificially altered with this little bit of code here, which basically says if the tag is ISP filtering, then skip that tag and don't display it here. So he's basically saying, do not show ISP filtering as a popular topic on this site. Now, that's fine. It's his site. If he wants to filter and censor the message on his own site, that's, I guess, his prerogative. But one of the problems that he does have is that the creator of that particular piece of software that creates that tag cloud is a guy called Alex Bosniak, and he's written a little letter to Senator Conroy, and you can see here he's got his own little tag cloud right here. But basically he said cease and desist using my software or my script and my code, basically because you haven't attributed, you've removed the attribution to me about using that software, and he clearly states here that's breaking his copyright agreement. So not only is Senator Conroy filtering the front page of his own website, he's also using software that he's not meant to be using because he doesn't have permission to. And he may want to go and have a look at, just do the search for ACTA, and no, it's not the Australian Clay Target Association. It is in fact what we're looking for here to help Senator Conroy in the use of this particular piece of software. Is he might want to go and have a look at the anti-counterfeiting trade agreement. Anti-counterfeiting trade agreement. That's hard to say this time of morning. And that will tell them all about using software that he doesn't actually really have permission to. That is it for today's show. Hopefully that's enough for you to go on with. I can't tell you how much you really need to be focusing on page speed though, and also site uptime, because Google certainly is. And we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.